and keep you grounded. So let's start in a comfortable seated position, closing down our eyes, the usual way when we start with our breath work. Let me just put on a timer. Feeling your sit bones, that's just those kind of two bones in your bottom, rooting down into the mat. Maybe taking a circle to the right, leaning back a little bit, a circle to the left, and then coming to a center point where you feel like you can keep your spine straight with a little bit more ease, a little bit less energy. We start to deepen our breath. So with our online classes, it's a little bit different from being together in real life. One of the main differences is that we don't really have the option in class to just get up and leave. Whereas when we're together online, I know you guys are at home and it's easy to get distracted. One of the things about yoga, though, it's not just about building strength and stamina in our body, it's also that kind of mental stamina to keep going when things are uncomfortable or when there are temptations there. So for today's class, I'd invite you to add a little bit of extra kind of inner yoga to your practice and to try to stay focused, try to stay with the practice for the whole of the session, even if you think, I don't like this anymore, or I'll just check what's on social media, or I think I'm thirsty, just to stick with it. So for our breath work, let's start to deepen our inhale, lifting up through our spine, opening through our chest, lifting the top of our head, and exhaling, rooting down into our sit bones a little bit more. What I want you to imagine is that there's the heat of the sun on every single side of your body. So usually when we're outside, we get it on like the front or the side or one particular spot. I want you to imagine that that heat is covering you in a 360 direction, like you're in a sphere of sunshine. And as we breathe in, I want you to draw that sunshine, that energy into every single cell in your body. And on the exhale, we're going to let it soak in deeply to every cell. Inhale, lengthening our breath just a little bit, and each inhale, drawing that sunshine in. And exhale, planting it into each cell in our body. Inhaling a little bit longer. And exhaling, that energy soaks into every cell. Our exhale becomes a little bit slower, a little bit deeper. Let's go 3 more times. Inhaling. And exhaling. Inhaling. And exhaling, soaking that energy into every single cell. And last time, really feeling the heat of the sun on your body. And exhaling, planting it deeply inside every single cell. From here, let's gently blink open our eyes and reach our hands forward. So when you reach your hands forward, I want you to imagine that you're really, really trying to touch something. And your arms are really active and engaged. They're super strong. At the same time, you're drawing your shoulder blades back and down. So you're almost trying to pinch a little pencil with your shoulder blades at the back. And your shoulders are trying to get as far away from your ears as possible. Your belly is drawing in. So we're reaching with our fingertips forward, pushing our sit bones into the mat, drawing our belly in, lifting the top of our head. Really, really active even in this simple posture. And let's start to roll our shoulders back. So keeping your arms really active and reaching forward. Top of your head is reaching high. We're rolling our shoulders up towards our ears, back towards the back of the mat, down towards the ground, out in front, and again, really purposeful movement. Keeping those fingertips reaching, keeping your core strong, really rolling as big as you can, making as big a circle as you can. Lengthening those arms, reaching the top of your head forward. Let's start to reverse it. So draw your shoulder blades back, pinch that pencil, shoulders come up towards your ears. Now they go down as far towards the ground as they can and rolling around. Still trying to reach forward with your hands. Rolling, really feeling that deeply into your shoulders, your core is engaged. And relax. Let's take our right hand down on the mat. We're going to lift our left hand really, really high. So your left hip is anchored into the mat, really deeply anchored there. We're going to reach really, really high and then start to lean over to the right. So we're leaning with our chest open to the long side of the mat, or whatever side of the mat you have in front of you, like you're between two panes of glass. So we're not leaning forward, we're leaning to the side. You might take your right elbow down, really deepening that stretch into the left side of your body, but only take your elbow down if you can keep your left hip pinned there, anchored really strongly. Maybe you start to stretch through your left elbow. Keep breathing. And gently trying to lift out of the right side of your body, just a touch, so you're not completely dumping your weight there. Inhale to lengthen a little bit more over to the right, and exhale to bend a little bit more deeply, rooting that left hip into the mat a little bit more. From here, we're going to gaze down at the floor. So maybe you're gazing towards your right hand connected with the floor. Take your left hands down. So our hands are shoulder width distance apart. Shoulders come away from your ears. We're going to try to get our chest parallel with the mat. So lifting your right shoulder a little bit, maybe dipping your left shoulder down, really deepening a twist through our core. So draw your core in to create a bit of space. And once you have that length in your spine and you feel like your chest is really facing towards the mat, maybe start to creep your hands forward to lower down a little bit more deeply. You might even hook your left elbow around your left thigh to be able to twist a little bit more deeply. Breathing here. Inhale to lengthen your spine. Exhale to fold forward a little bit more deeply, twisting a little bit more towards the back. And let's keep our body bent forward and start to walk our hands over to the left. So we're coming towards center. So your bottom is trying to touch the floor, trying to root down into the floor at the same time as creeping your hands forward, shoulders away from your ears. We start to bend forward. We're going to try to get our chest as far forward as we can. Top of your head is reaching as far forward as you can. So long through your spine. Breathing here. Inhale to lengthen a little bit further away. Exhale to fold a little bit more deeply, rooting your sit bones into the mat, really feeling a deep stretch in your lower back. Let's walk our hands a little bit more over to the left, so we're kind of on a diagonal, stretching there, feeling that deep stretch in the right side of your body, shoulder shifting away from your ears. So it's more important here that you have length through your upper body, length through your spine, reaching the top of your head far away, rather than kind of rolling into a little ball towards the ground. So length is important here. Breathing. So we inhale to lengthen, exhale to fold a little bit more deeply. From here, let's walk ourselves back up to sitting. So take our left hand to the mat this time. Inhale to reach your right hand as far towards the ceiling as you can, and then stretch your right hip into the mat a little bit more deeply. Let's start to reach over to the left side. You know what we're going to do now. So body is between two panes of glass. We're just reaching to the left side. Maybe your left elbow comes down. Only do that if you can keep your right hip connected to the mat, stretching over towards the left side. Maybe you can lengthen through that right elbow, or maybe you're back here, and that's also perfect. Breathing deeply. Let's inhale to lengthen, exhale to draw our right shoulder down, root our right hip into the mat. So we're lengthening and rooting at the same time. Let's take our right hand down to the mat, left hand down to the mat. So our hands are shoulder width distance apart. We're going to draw our belly in and twist really deeply from our lower spine, from our lower abdomen. And then inhale to lengthen our spine and exhale to fold towards the mat. So we're trying to get our chest parallel with the mat. Maybe your right elbow will hook around your left thigh to create a little leverage point where you can fold a little bit more deeply, twist a little bit more deeply, shoulders away from your ears. Really feeling a deep twist coming from your lower abdomen, lower spine. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to fold a little bit more deeply, as if you're going to touch your chest off the ground. And then we start to walk our hands, keeping the fold forward. Walk our hands towards center again. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to fold. Maybe you're going to get a little bit more deep than before. Take your hands over a little bit more to the right on a diagonal, feeling that deep stretch through the left side of your body. Shoulders shifting away from your ears the whole time. Length through your spine. Sit bones are trying to root into the mat, so pushing back into the mat. And let's come up to center to release. So take your legs out in front of you and feet are flat on the ground. Draw your core in. So lower abdomen and your belly button are trying to touch your lower spine. Draw your belly in. Then draw it in a little bit more. Then draw it in a little bit more. And the more you draw it in, the stronger your connection with your abs get. You can tip back off your sit bones so you're just balanced in Navasana now. But I want us to use our cores here. So really think about connecting your lower abdomen to your spine, really drawing it in really strongly. You can release your hands forward if that's good for you. We'll start to tip our right foot down, making sure that the movement, everything is coming from our core. So nothing moves in our core. Left foot tips down, really loose and easy in your upper body. Right foot comes down, left foot comes down. It's all coming from our core. Right foot comes down, left foot comes down. Draw your core in a little bit more deeply. Right foot comes down, left foot comes down. Now we're going to glue our legs together. So they were maybe separate before. I want you to stick your legs together and push them together. So inner edge of your feet are pushed together so strongly. Upper body is lifted, but it's quite relaxed. Shoulders are shifting away from your ears. Let's drop both sets of toes down, keeping your legs pushing together and drawing your core in. Dropping down and drawing your core in even more. Every time we drop down and lift up, I want you to draw your core in more than before. Let's drop down, keeping your feet and your knees glued together. Push them together. Drop down really slowly. Lift up. Let's go for 3 more. Keep breathing. Drop down. Lift up. Drop down. Lift up. Drop down. Lift up. We're just going to hold here for 3, 2, 1, and then we start to lift our hands up. Keep our legs where they are, pushing together and lower down. Lift your arms towards the ceiling, core draws in and lower down. Lift your arms towards the ceiling, push those legs together and lower down. Let's go for 5. Keep breathing. Core moves towards your spine more deeply every single time. Keep breathing. Shoulders away from your ears. 3. Draw that belly in. 2, almost there. Squeeze your legs together. And 1. Great job. Cross over your ankles, rolling forward. Let's come into our plank. Plank pose. Hands are underneath our shoulders, pushing a little bit more deeply, a little bit more strongly into the knuckle of our index finger and our thumb. From here, let's drop our right knee down just to tip the ground for a second. Draw your core in and drop your left knee down. It barely tips it and drop back into plank. Right knee comes down and back. Left knee tips down just for a second, back to plank. Right knee, back to plank. Make it really slow and purposeful, even though you know what's coming. Right knee down, left knee down. Let's dip both knees down, barely touching the ground, and back to plank. Both knees down, draw your belly in, and back to plank. Both knees down and back. Let's go for 5. Squeeze your glutes, squeeze your core. And 4, barely tipping the mat. And 3, and 2, and 1. Keeping your plank. If you can, drop your right hip over to the mat. So twisting onto the left side of your left foot, just to stretch through our abs. Drop your right foot or right hip over to the mat and back to center. Rolling over your feet, rolling to the left side of your foot. Left hip comes down to the mat, allowing that stretch to happen through your abs. Right hip comes down to the mat, rolling over your feet. Let's go one more each time. Left hip comes down, right hip comes down. Now, if you're able, we're going to step in plank. You can widen your feet or you come down onto your knees. Lift your right hand, reach those fingertips back towards your right foot, and then reach it forward, reach it back, reach it forward, reach it back, reach it forward, hands come down. Switch sides, reach your left hand back towards your left foot, and then reach your hand forward, stretching those fingertips forward as far as they can go, and then back, and then forward, and then back, and then forward, and then back down. Let's go one more time each side. Forward and back with your right hand. Forward and back, really reaching. Forward and back. Forward and back, left hand. Forward and back, squeeze your glutes, squeeze your core. Forward and back. Forward and back. Forward and back. Great job. Knees hit the mat. Toes together, heels apart. Bum hits your heels. Let's come forward into child's pose. Reconnecting with your breath if you lost it there for a second. Breathing deeply. From here, let's lift ourselves up into downward facing dog. Walking through the backs of our legs to loosen out through the backs of your legs. Broad through your fingertips, pushing into the index and thumb knuckles. Really trying to stretch your heels towards the mat as you walk through one leg, straightening it, straighten the other leg. So straightening and bending, and then come to a static position. Core is drawing in long through your spine. Imagine the top of your head reaching in between your hands. Tailbone is reaching high towards the ceiling on a diagonal. From here, let's push your hands into the mat. Look between your hands and start to walk your feet up really slowly, little steps, all the way to the front of your mat. Bending forward, just releasing the weight of your upper body forward. Widening your feet to the width of the mat. Take your left hand around your right ankle. Inhale to lengthen your spine. Exhale to twist to the right side, tipping your weight a little bit more forward and opening towards the right side of your mat. Reach your right fingertips high towards the ceiling. Breathing here. Maybe letting your weight tip a little bit more forward into your front of your feet. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to twist a little bit more deeply. Take that right hand all the way around and grab your left thigh if you can. Or maybe you just lay it flat on your back. If you can grab your left thigh, we're going to inhale to lengthen. Exhale to twist open a little bit more deeply, trying to get your chest to look up towards the ceiling. Releasing back to center. Right hand comes around your left ankle. Let's inhale to lengthen. Exhale to twist open, reaching your left fingertips towards the ceiling. Tipping your weight a little bit more forward in your feet. Inhale to lengthen long through your spine. Exhale to twist open, taking that left hand all the way around your back, grabbing your right thigh with your left hand. Let's inhale to lengthen. Exhale to twist your chest open towards the ceiling a little bit more deeply. Releasing your body down, taking your feet back to hip width distance, pushing into your feet and rolling up through your spine, one little vertebra at a time, until we reach all the way towards the ceiling with our fingertips, palms to heart center, Samasthiti. Good job. Toes together, heels apart. Let's inhale and reach our fingertips towards the ceiling. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, take your right foot back. Left foot comes back. We're going to take our knees down, chest down, chin down, bum is high towards the ceiling. Elbows are touching the side of your body. Snaking forward into our cobra, rolling through our shoulders, trying to touch your elbows behind your back. Tops of your feet are pushing into the mat. Let's push back into downward facing dog. Keeping it long, trying not to shift your feet closer to your hands, allowing the backs of your legs to open out. Your heels might not be touching the ground just yet. That is A-okay. From here, we're going to come high on our left toes. Reach your right toes towards the ceiling. Take your right knee into your chest. Push the ground away. Try to touch your upper back onto the ceiling. Kick your right foot between your hands. And we're going to stretch back through that right knee, coming into a really extended pyramid. Both hands are touching the mat if you can. Maybe you're up on your fingertips. Maybe you've got a bend in that knee just to make it easier, but we're working towards straight in that front knee, both hands touching the mat, long through your spine. Breathing here. Let's take our left foot up to the top of the mat as well, lengthening long, trying to reach your chest as far forward as you can, folding forward, pushing into your feet to rise all the way up to standing, fingertips towards the ceiling, palms to heart center, samasthiti. Reaching towards the ceiling with your fingertips, let's bend forward into a 90-degree angle. So we're reaching forward, shoulders away from your ears, core is strong. Our chest, our upper body is parallel with the ground. Breathing here. Strong through your glutes, strong through your core. Little micro bend in your knees to make sure you're not hyperextending them. Keeping everything as it is, shoulders away from your ears. Let's start to reach our hands out to the right side. Really reaching as far as you can. Shoulders shift away from your ears. Your gaze can be gently towards the ground or out on a diagonal. Core is strong. We're trying to keep our hips still kind of facing towards the front of the mat, just shifting our upper body around and come back to center. Reset your body, squeeze your glutes, squeeze your core, reach long. Let's take our body around to the left side. So reaching your hands out to the left side of the mat. Hips are still trying to stay facing forward. Breathing here. And coming back to center, keeping that control, lowering your hands down. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to fold. Take your left foot back, right foot comes back. We're coming into our chaturanga push-up. Tip forward on your knees, elbows coming close to the sides of your body, whole body is lifted. Draw yourself up into upward facing dog, shoulders shifting away from your ears, pushing back over your toes into downward facing dog. Breathing here. This time we're going to come really high on our right toes and take your left toes up as high as you can towards the ceiling, like you're going to touch the ceiling. Take your left knee into your chest. Lift it as high towards your chest as you can. Push the ground away like you're going to touch your upper spine to the ceiling. Kick your left foot in between your hands. From here, we're going to keep our hands connected with the mat as we can and straighten through that left knee. So this is what we're looking for. Maybe you still got a bend in your knee. Maybe you're high up on your fingertips. Just work with your body as it is today. So hands on the mat, straightening through that right knee. Hips and shoulders, chest are parallel with the mat. Using our breath, we inhale to lengthen our spine and exhale to fold it a little bit more deeply. Take your left foot to the top of the mat. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to fold. Inhale to push into your feet, rising all the way up to standing. Palms to heart center. Samasthiti. Inhale, reach those fingertips high towards the ceiling. Exhale to come down into our 90-degree. Again, reaching really far forward. From here, we're going to push our feet into the mat. Core is strong. Maybe tip your weight a little bit more forward. So you're trying to reach something and you're moving forward with your fingertips 1 or 2 centimeters more. From here, we're going to keep everything engaged as it is. Reach all the way back up to the ceiling. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, squeezing your glutes, squeezing your core. Exhale down into 90 degree. Inhale all the way back up. Exhale down. This time we're going to twist over to the right like we did already. From here, we're going to keep our shoulders away from our ears. Everything is engaged. Inhale up in the twist. Exhale back down using the strength of your obliques. Inhale up, shoulders away from your ears. Exhale down, little bend in your knees to protect your knees. Inhale up and exhale down. Keeping strong, shifting around to the left side, building strength in our core and our back. We're going to inhale up to reach towards the ceiling in the twist. Exhale back down. Inhale up. Exhale back down, reaching with your fingertips. Keep breathing. Inhale up. Exhale back down, shifting back to center, still in our 90 degree. Let your fingers reach towards the ground. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to jump or step back into chaturanga push-up. Upward facing dog. Opening through your chest, pushing back into downward facing dog. Breathing here. Those deep inhales and exhales. Still imagining that heat, that energy of the sunshine entering your body on the inhale and soaking into every cell on the exhale. Let's come high on those left toes again. Right foot comes in between our hands. Hands stay connected to the mat. Push back to straighten that right leg. We're going to start to walk both hands around to the right side of our right leg. So you might be bent in your right knee or you might have it straight. We're going to twist here, trying to take our shoulders, our chest kind of parallel to the long side of the mat or in line with the long side of the mat. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to twist and fold a little bit more deeply over that right side. Bring our hands back to frame our right foot. Left foot comes to meet. Lengthen on the inhale. Exhale to fold. Push into your feet to rise all the way up to standing, reaching towards the ceiling, palms to heart center, samastiti. Inhale to reach towards the ceiling. Body is super strong and long. Exhale to fold forward into our 90 degree again. This time we're going to come all the way down and then use our core and our glutes, shoulders shifting away from your ears, to come all halfway up. So we're going to come down on the exhale. Let's inhale up. Down on the exhale, use your core strength. Inhale up. So we're in our 90 degree angle with the floor between our legs and our upper body, reaching around to the right side. Let's exhale down, inhale up. Exhale down, inhale up, using your core, squeezing your glutes. Exhale down, inhale up. We're coming around through center to the left side. Exhale, reach down towards the mat. Inhale up. Exhale down, hips are still facing forward. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Bring yourself back around to center. Exhaling down, jumping or stepping long down your mat into your plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, rolling those shoulders together at the back, pushing back into downward facing dog, breathing here. Coming high on our right toes, left toes reach towards the ceiling, draw that foot in between your hands. We're going to keep our hands connected to the mat and lengthen through our left knee. So we're kind of coming into like a really long pyramid pose. From here, we're going to take our hands around to the left side of the mat. So my hands are in line with the left side of my mat. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to twist your body around to the left side and fold a little bit more deeply. Maybe you have a bend in your left knee. That's absolutely perfect. Using your breath to lengthen your spine. Using your exhale to draw your core in a little bit more, to create space for the twist, space for the fold. Bring yourself back to center. Right foot comes to meet. Lengthen, fold, rise all the way up to standing. Palms to heart center. Samastitihi. Inhale, reaching your fingertips towards the mat. Sitting into Utkatasana. Everything should be super strong now. So squeezing through your glutes. Toes together, heels apart. Little sheet of paper can fit in between your legs. Reach those fingertips long away. Open through your chest. Draw your core in. Keep breathing. From here, we're going to lower our hands down. Lengthen, fold, jump or step back into your plank or chaturanga. Upward facing dog, pushing back into downward facing dog. Take your right foot high towards the ceiling, in between your hands. While we're here, we're going to place our left foot down in a 45-degree angle. So outside of your left foot is glued to the mat. Straighten through your right knee. Inhale to lift your body up. So we're in warrior, like in a warrior one with our right knee straight, shifting your left hip towards the front of your mat, reaching long with those fingertips. I want you to protect your left knee at all costs. So draw up through that left knee to strengthen it. And then make sure that the twisting of your hips towards the front of your mat is coming from your left hip and not from your knee. Breathing here. Let's bend deeply into our right knee, coming into our warrior one, keeping the outer edge of that left foot glued to the mat. Equal weight between both feet, trying to get your chest and hips parallel with the front of the mat. So you might want to reach that left hand forward a little bit more. Taking both hands down to the mat, coming into our plank. From here, we're going to reach our right hand forward and then back towards our right foot. Right hand forward as far as you can go. Back towards our right foot. Right hand forward and back. Twice more. Forward and back. Forward and back. Coming down into chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Pushing back into downward facing dog. Breathing here. Let's lift our left foot high. Take it in between our hands. Position our right foot into that 45-degree angle, pushing the outer edge into the mat. Lengthen through your left knee. Using your core strength, lift yourself up towards the ceiling, reaching towards the ceiling, shifting that right hip forward while protecting your right knee. So no twist is to come from your knee, just from your hip. Twisting your right shoulder forward. Core is strong. Glutes are engaged. Reaching as high as you can towards the ceiling. Maybe you want to join those hands together, push them together a little bit more. Equal weight between both feet. Straight in that right back knee. Let's bend deeply into our left knee. Keep shifting your right hip forward, right shoulder forward. Breathing here, pushing a little bit more deeply into your left heel. Hands come down to the mat, coming back into our plank. Core is strong. Reach your left hand forward and then reach back towards your left foot. Left hand reaches forward and back and forward and back. Keep breathing. Forward and back and forward and back. Coming down into our chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Pushing back into your downward facing dog. Breathing here. From here, we're going to look into between our hands, jump or step to the front of our mat, lengthen and fold, sweep your fingertips off the mat, sitting into your Utkatasana just for a second, push your feet into the mat, legs are engaged for the whole time when we're rising up to standing Samastitihi. Sweeping your fingertips off the mat, sitting into Utkatasana, drawing your palms to your chest. We're going to lengthen our spine long. Exhale to twist and hook our left elbow outside of our right knee. Opening towards the right side of our mat, lengthening through your spine. Top of your head is reaching long, using your breath. So inhale to lengthen long, exhale to draw your belly in to create space, and twist a little bit more deeply, gazing out over that right elbow, right shoulder, maybe up towards the ceiling, making sure that both knees stay in line. Squeeze your glutes, squeeze your core to draw yourself back to center. Palms stay at your heart center, breathing here, super strong, drawing your shoulder blades back together. Let's lengthen a little bit longer through our spine and twist over to the right side or the left side. So your right elbow comes outside your left knee. Both knees stay glued together, twisting towards the left side. Inhale to lengthen your spine, exhale to draw your belly in. Create a bit more space. Gaze out over your left shoulder, left elbow, lengthening all the time on the inhale, exhaling to twist a little bit more deeply. Squeeze your glutes, squeeze your core, come back to center, reaching long, super strong in our Utkatasana before folding forward, lengthening, coming back to our plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog. Open through your chest, allow your core to drop towards the ground, pushing over your toes into downward facing dog. Breathing here. Let's take our right foot in between our hands, left foot swivels down into our 45, straight in that right leg, lifting all the way up into like our warrior with a straight front leg, trying to get our left hip, left shoulder parallel with the mat, bending deeply into that right knee. Take our hands to heart center again. Lengthen through your spine on a diagonal. Hook your left elbow outside your right knee and twist. If there's too much pressure in your left knee, I want you to come up into like a lunge on your left leg, coming up onto your left toes. If it's okay, keep your foot down in that 45-degree angle. Outer edge of your foot is glued to the mat. Twisting here, maybe gazing back over your right elbow, right shoulder, shifting your right hips back to center if they twisted out to the, or if they shifted out to the right. Lengthening on the inhale, exhale to twist a little bit more deeply. Pushing into your right foot to draw yourself back to center, up into our warrior one. Twisting over your left toes to come up into high lunge, straight through that back knee, reaching with those fingertips. Chest is high and open. Drop down in that left knee, still tucking your hips under. So feeling the stretch in the left side of your body, left side of your hip. You have the option of keeping your toes tucked or untucking them before taking your left hand back to your left heel, reaching your right hand overhead, opening through your chest, pushing your hips forward, opening your chest towards the ceiling, breathing as we shift our hips forward and up, open through our front body. Core is strong, glutes are engaged. Draw yourself back up. Both hands frame that front foot, coming back into your plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, pushing back to downward facing dog. Maybe walking through your feet, rolling your hips from side to side to get a little bit of movement in. Next, we take our left foot towards the ceiling. Draw it in between your hands. Right foot comes down into that 45. Straight through that left knee. Lift yourself up into our kind of warrior one with a straight front knee. Bending deeply into that left knee. Taking your palms to heart center. Reaching forward on the inhale to a diagonal on the inhale. Right elbow comes outside the left knee before we twist over to the left side. So you have the option of coming up onto your toes on the right foot if you feel too much of a twist in your right knee. Inhale to lengthen along with your spine. Bending a little bit more deeply into that left knee and twisting a little bit more deeply towards the left side on your exhale. Drawing your core in to make space. Shifting that left hip back to center if it's after swinging out to the left side. Core is strong, shoulders away from your ears. Inhale to lift yourself back up into our warrior one, rolling over those toes if you haven't already, into high lunge, straight through that right knee, bending deeply into that left knee, pushing a little bit more into that left heel. Let's drop our right knee down, still tucking your tailbone under, feeling that deep stretch in the front of your right hip, keeping your toes tucked under or releasing them, reaching high towards the ceiling with those fingertips. Let's take our right hand back to grab our right heel and reach back with that left hand. So we're still pushing our hips towards the front of the mat, opening our chest towards the ceiling, like a bit of a wild thing movement with your upper body. Breathing here, releasing your head back if you feel comfortable, lifting your hips, pushing them forward, opening through your chest. Reach that left hand forward as if someone is drawing you up. Both hands come to frame your left foot, kicking back into your plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, pushing back to downward facing dog, breathing here. Next inhale, we're going to jump or step to the front of our mat, lengthen and fold, sweep your fingertips to rise up to Utkatasana, and then all the way up to standing, palms to heart center, Samastitihi. Great job. Let's inhale to sweep our fingertips back towards the mat, coming into our Utkatasana again. Let's take our knees down onto our elbows down onto our knees. So we're kind of like sitting here. You can support your head on your fists. So when we do this, we're kind of able to maybe stretch a little bit more deeply into our Achilles, into our calves, drop our bottom a little bit more. So let's stay here just for a couple of breaths and work on drawing our core in, taking our shoulders away from our ears, and dropping our bottom just a little bit more towards the mat. From here, with your glutes really engaged, lower body is really close to being in a 90-degree with the floor. We need to take your hands behind your back. Let's start to open our chest here. So draw your hands together, clasping your palms together, opening through your chest, lifting those hands away from your body and back towards the back of your mat, reaching long through your spine at the same time as keeping that deep kind of seated posture of our Utkatasana. Feeling your legs maybe burning. Inhale to draw your hands back away from your body. Exhale to tip them a little bit more high towards the ceiling, keeping your chest open. From here, we're going to release our hands down to the mat. Lengthen, fold, coming back into our plank. Let's continue to work our core. Inhale to reach your right hand forward and then back towards your right foot. Reach it forward and then back. Let's go for 3 and back and 2 and back and 1 and back. Let's work our left side. Right hand comes down to the floor. We're in our plank position. Reach that left hand forward and then back and forward and back. 3 more times. Forward and back. Forward and back. Last time. Forward and back. Coming down into our chaturanga. Upward facing dog or cobra. Pushing back into downward facing dog. Breathing here. Connecting with your breath again. If you've lost it. Let's take our right foot high towards the ceiling. In between our hands. Straighten through that right knee again. Glue the outer edge of your left foot to the mat. Inhaling up into our warrior with a straight front knee. Left hip, left shoulder, shift towards the front of the mat. Bending really deeply into that right knee. Maybe you can bend a little bit more than before. So if you can, shift your left foot backwards to create more space. Breathing here. Let's take ourselves into warrior two. So opening through the left foot a little bit more, right hand reaches forward, left hand reaches back, and our hips open towards the left side of our mat, long side of our mat. Deep bend into that right knee, a little bit deeper than you think you can. Equal weight between both feet. Take your right elbow down onto your right knee. Sweep your left hand up overhead into our extended side angle, like your body is between two panes of glass. So your chest is open towards the long side of your mat. Maybe it's even gently opening towards the ceiling. Gazing up under your left hand, long and straight line between your left fingertips and the outer edge of your left foot. From here, we're going to take our left hand around the back and grab our right thigh. So repeating that twist that we did at the start, using that as a kind of lever to open our chest a little bit more towards the ceiling. Engaging our core long through both sides of our body, release your right hand up. So there's a long line between your right fingertips and your left toes. Breathing here, squeezing your glutes to support you, opening your chest. From here, you can take yourself back up into warrior two. Keep your legs as they are if you can. Palms come around to join at the back into prayer pose, deep into that right leg. Let's swivel on our left toes into high lunge with our hands in prayer pose at the back before dropping our left knee down for a little bit of a quad and thigh break. Opening through your chest, drawing those elbows back. Let's release our hands. Draw your left heel in towards your glutes and grab your foot with your hands. Open through your chest, lift long through your spine, and draw your left heel into your glutes for a glute stretch or a quad stretch even. Breathing here, pushing your right heel into the mat. Core is strong, opening through your chest, not forcing it so much, just creating a little bit of tension and allowing your breath to help your body to release into the stretch. Maybe drawing that heel in a little bit closer to your glutes. And then releasing. Both hands come down to the mat, kicking back into our plank of a chaturanga, upward facing dog, pushing back into downward facing dog. You walk through your feet, maybe you can feel a difference in your thighs and your quads and your hips from one side to the other. Let's take our left foot high towards the ceiling, in between our hands, right foot, we know how to position it into a 45-degree angle, outer edge is rooted into the mat. Straight through that left knee, using your core strength, maybe even your glutes, to lift yourself up into a warrior one with a straight front leg. Right hip, right shoulder, shifting towards the front of the mat, bending deeply into that left knee. If your body is opened more than before, maybe you want to elongate your stance by shifting your right foot back a little bit. Again, remembering to protect that right knee. Let's open wide into our warrior two. Opening our hips now to be parallel with the long side of the mat. Maybe you want to even open your right foot a little bit into like a 60-degree angle, tucking your tailbone under, deep bend into that left knee. Equal weight between both feet, if you can imagine like a weighing scales under both feet. Reaching long with your fingertips as if someone is pulling on either hand and gazing out strongly over that left middle finger. Length through your spine, shoulders shifting away from your ears. Feeling super strong, maybe bending a little bit more deeply into that left knee. If you do, make sure that you keep equal weight in your right foot. Let's take our left elbow down onto our left knee. Reach that right hand up. Long and straight line between your right fingertips and your right foot. Not so much weight in that left elbow. Again, tucking your tailbone under, opening your hips towards that long side of the mat. Core is super strong. Breathing here. Stretching a little bit more deeply, really enjoying the openness of the posture. Before taking your right hand around the back and grab your left thigh if you can, or maybe you just grab like your top at the back. Opening your chest a little bit towards the ceiling. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to twist. And from here, we're going to reach our left hand long. So now we have a long line between our left hand and our right foot. Using your core strength, pushing down into both feet. Breathing here. Let's come back up into our warrior two. Take your hands to the back in prayer pose again. Left leg is burning. Quick switching around to high lunge with our hands in prayer pose at the back. Right knee is super straight. Top of your head is reaching towards the ceiling. Elbows are drawing back. Coming down onto your right knee, tucking your tailbone under. Let's release our hands back. Draw our right heel into our right glute. Then clutch that foot with your hands. Gently drawing your foot to your glutes, allowing that quad stretch to happen along the front of your right thigh. Not pulling so much that it makes you crunch up your face and your shoulders, just drawing it in so much as you can comfortably, like a comfortable amount of challenge, allowing your breath to help those muscles to open. The minute we draw in too much, our muscles recoil and they won't let us won't release. So don't draw it in so much that your body has to go into like a protective mode. Just allow your breath to open those muscles. Breathing a little bit more. Let's release back down. Hands come to the mat, coming into our plank or chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Upward facing dog or cobra. Pushing back into downward facing dog. Crossing over at the ankles, rolling back into a seated position, feet out in front of us. Inhale to reach your fingertips really long towards the ceiling. Exhale to fold, grabbing underneath your thighs, maybe underneath your calves or your feet. Let's try to keep our spine as straight as we can. So don't choose an overambitious points to grab so that you're going to have to be really, really bent. Let's inhale to lengthen, exhale to fold forward, trying to get your belly to touch your upper thigh first, and then your chest, and then maybe your forehead. Elbows are wide, shoulders shifting away from your ears, feet are engaged, draw those toes back towards your face. Stay with your breath. This is a great one to spend a lot of time in. Let's inhale to lengthen a little bit more. Exhale to fold a little bit more deeply before releasing back up, rolling all the way back, long on your mat. Feet are touching, feet are flat on the mat. We're going to come up into shoulder stand. So you might want to look at me first, or if you know how to do shoulder stand, no need. But what I want you to do is to keep your gaze towards the ceiling and to make sure that you do not twist your neck in any way, shape, or form once you get up into it. So we're going to come up gently. If it's your first time, maybe you just want to draw your knees towards your forehead, and that's perfect. Stay there. Or maybe you want to lift your legs up towards the ceiling, supporting yourself in your mid to upper back with your hands. Breathing here. And stay for a couple of breaths. Gently tipping your chin away from your chest to create space. No pressure on your neck. Once you get into the posture, keep your gaze towards the ceiling. Stretching those toes towards the ceiling if you're in full shoulder stand, or just keeping your knees on your forehead if you're in the modified version. From here, we're going to get everybody to take their knees towards their forehead and release your feet out behind you. So if you can, touch your toes on the ground behind you. Allow the toenail part of your
foot to touch on the ground. So we come into halasana. Maybe you want to join your palms together, clasp your hands together behind your back, gently tipping your chin away from your chest, making sure not to twist your neck. Breathing here. Now everybody to take their hands flat on the mat. Take your knees into your chest. Core is strong as we gently roll down one little vertebra at a time. Lowering your legs super slowly, using all of your core strength until you're lying flat on the ground. Take your palms under your lower glutes and the tops of your thighs. We're going to push your elbows into the mat to lift our chest and allow the top of our head to come flat on the mat. Come into fish pose or Matsyasana, which is our counter pose to shoulder stand, really opening through your chest. Breathing here. Before releasing your head down onto the mat, releasing your hands, releasing your arms, taking your knees into your chest, squeezing really, really tightly, rolling a little bit through your lower spine. Maybe you want to even take your head into your knees for one last really tight squeeze before releasing out into our Shavasana. Feet and arms as wide as you would like, palms facing up towards the ceiling, toes out, heels in. Releasing the whole of your body into the mat. Remembering the heat of the sun that we connected with at the start of our practice. As you allow your breath to release and just come back to its natural rhythm, natural pace. Gently keep that idea of drawing the energy of the sun in to your body on the inhale and allowing it to soak and soothe into every single cell on the exhale. Let's gently start to wiggle into our hands and our feet. As you're at home, you can take as long as you want in your Shavasana. Draw your feet together, reach those hands up overhead, stretch as long as you can in one long line. Let's roll over to our right side. Your head can rest on your right upper arm. Breathing here, keeping your eyes closed if you would like. For pushing yourself all the way up to sitting. Let's feel our sit bones connecting with the mat. Top of our head is reaching long and high towards the ceiling. Inhale to reach your hands as far away from you as you can, drawing them up in a big circle towards the ceiling. Palms reach in prayer posture up above your head. Draw them down to your third eye. May there be peace in our thoughts, and draw them to your lips. May there be peace in our words. And then finally to our heart center, may there be peace in our thoughts and our intentions. Great job today, guys. Thank you to everybody who joined live, and thank you to everybody who's watching back on the replay. If you have any questions about anything that we did today, just shoot me a message on Instagram, or you can email me hello@fitgreenlean.com. Next week we will have another live session.
So I hope that you'll join then. And now in 15 minutes, actually, I've got like an Instagram live session with pranayama. And today we're looking at breathing techniques that help us to cool down and recover quicker after exercise. But it also works actually in terms of like emotions. So it helps us, we can cool down and chill down quicker after like a fight or a stressful situation. So that's coming up in 15 minutes. If you want to join for that, that's on Instagram. So thank you guys. I hope that your bodies feel great after that, and I will see you next week. Have a great day.